Shalom, everyone, and welcome back. This coming Shabbos is the Parsha of Balak, Chukas Balak. It's a double Parsha. The first Parsha deals with the Paraduma, the red heifer, and the second Parsha deals with a very interesting story about how the wicked king of Moab named Balak ended up hiring a more wicked prophet named Bilam to curse the Jews as the Jews were passing through, or wanted to pass through Moab on their way to the land of Israel. Uh, and Balak didn't want them. After all, who wants 2.5 million people passing through your land? It's quite understandable. But nevertheless, the Jewish people told them, we're not going to drink your water. We're not going to cause any problems. We're not even going to graze on your land. Just let us pass by so we can get to the land of Israel. Moab is today probably Jordan or the north of Saudi Arabia. So it's something that we can all relate to in a sense. What is the Parsha all about? The Parsha is all about Bilam being hired to curse the Jews. And the Torah tells us those that curse the Jews will be cursed, those that bless the Jews will be blessed. And indeed, it's happened that way throughout Jewish history. All of those nations that have blessed us have been blessed. Of course, the greatest example of that is the United States of America, the most blessed country in the history of the world, which has been incredibly kind to the Jewish people. And the Jewish people truly appreciate that blessing and have contributed in part to the success of the United States, of course. In fact, but there have been other nations throughout history that have blessed the Jews as well, in sometimes different circumstances. For example, the Soviet Union, interestingly, was not the nicest place in the world to live. However, the Soviet Union allowed Jewish people during many periods of time to have a lot of opportunities, universities and throughout the government, even though they persecuted the Jews, but they nevertheless gave the Jews a lot of opportunities. And while most countries threw the Jews out, the Soviet Union actually kept them in and would not let them leave. That was what the Soviet Jewry movement was all about in the 1960s and 1970s. They wouldn't let us out. They wanted us to stay there because we were so good to their country, ironically. Many people don't know that Poland had a golden age in the 1600s when Jews were fleeing the persecution of the Inquisition in Spain and Portugal. Many of them fled to Poland. That's why there were so many Jews in Poland before World War II, some 3 million Jews in Poland. Poland was like the New York of Europe as far as Jews were concerned. And Poland was tremendously good to the Jews. Why did Poland bring Jews in, allow Jews to come in? Because they knew that by the Jews coming into Poland, it would bless the country. And indeed it did. There was a golden age of Poland during that time. A tremendous resurgence of the economy, of all kinds of good inventions and wealth into the country. It was a very good time. It's only when Poland and other countries started to persecute the Jews that they went downhill. Of course, Spain was a tremendously blessed country. Christopher Columbus sailed from Spain. He was part of the Spanish court, in fact. And during that time, Jews were held in very high esteem in Spain. And of course, we know down at Rabbi Abarbanel was one of the advisors to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and he was highly regarded. In fact, when the Inquisition started, they allowed a dispensation to Rabbi Abarbanel so that he could stay. But he said, no, if they're going to persecute the Jews, he's going to leave also. And it was a terrible time. After the Inquisition against the Jews, Spain never recovered from its former greatness, never did. And every country is like that. Any country that has persecuted the Jews have been cursed. Every country that has blessed the Jews has been blessed. We Jews have a strong and incredible power to bless others. And we should use that power in every aspect of our life. Recognize the fact that the blessings that come from God into the world come through us. And those nations that don't believe that will end up believing it after they're cursed by persecuting us. So anti-Semitism, as we talk about today, is really not a Jewish disease. It's a Gentile disease. It's something that non-Jews need to work on more than ever. And they have to realize that by being anti-Semitic, they're only bringing curses upon themselves, as they will see. This is a very important lesson from this week's Torah portion. Bilam at the end realized that the blessings are coming from God. He has no power to curse because God is not allowing the curses to come through. And at the end, Bilam recites one of the most famous sayings, most famous prayers that we say every single day, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkanosecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents of Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. And it's interesting that Bilam invoked both names of the Jewish people, Yaakov and Yisroel, because he wanted to make sure that all of his bases were taken care of. He recognized the fact that the Jewish people are the conduit for God's blessings on this earth. And indeed they are. Candlelighting tonight is at 7:42. We have Minyan tonight, a Friday night in San Diego at 7:45, followed by Maariv. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock is Minyan sharp. We'll finish about 10:20. We have a security guard. We now have security again in the synagogue, both at night and by day. So everyone can be rest assured that there will be complete safety during the time of prayer. And finally, I'm pleased to announce that we're going to be starting a new Mincha Maariv every night, starting, of course, Saturday night at 7:45 throughout the week. This week will also be at 7:45. We'll daven Mincha then, followed by Maariv. We'll be davening outside. Masks are required. If you can't wear a mask, please, unfortunately, do not come. We're observing social distancing. During Shabbos, no children are welcome to come yet below the age of 12. So I want to wish everyone a good Shabbos. Also, it's membership season right now in the shul. Membership is $2,200 for a couple, a family, and $1,100 for a single person. And we encourage you to pay your membership dues either all at once or in part. We've been doing a lot of work in the shul, and these things cost money. And we also have other expenses as well, our utilities and all kinds of things as well. They did not stop with the virus. So please, everyone, be kind, be generous, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon on Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.